Yeah, I'm Brett Lonsdale from Lightning Tools, and we're going to be talking about Social Squared today. We've got some action-packed demonstrations on how we're going to use Social Squared inside of Microsoft SharePoint as a community platform, and we're going to use it for a specific scenario, which is around a university, and enabling students to be able to discuss different topics, maybe with teachers or different student support scenarios. But of course, there's many use cases. Could be using this in government or as any sort of community of practice type support, or even help desk support, and that type of scenario. So we've got a few slides to go through just to introduce ourselves as Lightning Tools. We're going to introduce, of course, the product, Social Squared, and we've just got a handful of slides to support that, and then we're going to jump into a couple of deep demonstrations, one of which we already have Social Squared pre-configured. We've got some content so that we can see what it's going to look like to end users and also to moderators and administrators. And then we're going to get into creating a brand new site and building a new instance of Social Squared, and that'll be more around a sort of council or local government type scenario where you could separate the different types of discussions that people are having using some of the forum groups. So just to jump into the introduction, so again, I'm Brett Lonsdale. I'm from a company called Lightning Tools. I founded Lightning Tools back in 2007, and yeah, since that time, we've been specializing in Microsoft SharePoint, and we've created a portfolio of multiple different products that support people inside of SharePoint, make SharePoint a little bit more effective around areas such as permissions management, permissions reporting, forms and automation, also info path migration as well, an area that we're recently specializing in, and also content aggregation and data visualization as well. So majority of these are web parts that you can add on a SharePoint page and configure those as a business user in order to be able to get more productivity out of Microsoft SharePoint. So what we're covering today, we're going to start off just a general discussion about why discussion forums matter. So you may be using discussion forums every single day out there on the internet, but maybe not so much inside of SharePoint. We'll just have a look at why they matter, how useful they are to us, perhaps in our personal lives, and then how we could apply that to business as well. And then we're also going to just have a quick comparison with some of the other Microsoft 365 social tools. And that's not just to say Social Squared is doing this better or anything like that. It actually complements some of these tools as well. Yeah, the types of discussions that you might have inside of Social Squared are often different to what you might be having inside of Teams chat, on email, or also in something like Viva Engage. We're then going to jump in and have a look at the Social Squared features, just so you understand what you get out of the box of the product. At that point, we're going to dive into a demonstration. So that will be the university demonstration. You'll be able to see that pre-configured example of Social Squared. And then we'll just finish up looking at what's new in Social Squared. And then finally, we'll add that new site and configure a new instance so that you can see how to build your own forum groups and forums from the ground up. There is going to be time for Q&A as well. I do have some colleagues on the call who will be able to answer any questions that do arise during the webinar. So if you do have any questions, you could pop those into the Q&A panel, and hopefully one of my colleagues will reply. If they don't, if I see any unanswered questions, I'll be getting onto those at the end of the webinar as well. Okay, so why discussion forums still matter. So yeah, they can be viewed as something that is old-fashioned, but we still use them in a lot of different places. Again, out there on the internet, there's probably a lot of you that are using Reddit and things like that, or maybe Stack Overflow. And often you don't intend to go and use those. It could just be that you've got some kind of issue that you're researching, or even you're curious about something and you go and research it, you put it into Google or Bing, and the answer doesn't come from perhaps something formal, but it comes from a discussion forum somewhere. So typically a subject matter expert on whatever question you just asked, and it could be a problem with your car or anything like that that you've got. we do a Google search on it, and somebody is specializing in Land Rovers or whatever it is and has responded previously to somebody else with what the answer might be. And that could have taken place years ago, but it's still serving us today because today that question has come up in our minds, we've researched it, and we've been able to find that answer. And that really is the beauty of a discussion forum. And it tracks the right type of questions because of the structure. So what you'll see here on the right-hand side is just an example of Social Squared and how that can be structured. And this is a departmental example where we've got human resources, sales and marketing, research and development. And in each of those different forum groups will be different forums that are maybe different areas of human resources, different areas of sales and marketing. So we might have conferences under marketing, for example, and we may have pay-per-click advertising as well under there also. So if a question comes up, that's where we go to ask our question. And hopefully we're amongst peers who specialize in those areas. They may respond to us, and that response doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear off a chat feed. It stays inside of that forum and can be easily searched and easily discovered. So that's really the benefit of the discussion forum. So Social Squared is something that you can embed inside of SharePoint. You can embed it inside of Teams as well. But there's lots of different examples of forums, like I said, out there on the internet for different purposes. So a quick comparison with some of the other tools. You may be using something like Viva Engage. Again, absolutely fantastic. We use Viva Engage as well. It's really useful for broad social conversations, but not so much a sort of Q&A type forum. And one of those reasons is the fact that it's feed driven. So the discussions are kind of relevant now, and come tomorrow or a week's time, they're off the radar. It's not something that we're continuing the conversation with. There could also be Teams chats or conversations using the posts tab within there. Again, it's ideal for real-time collaboration, but again, it's feed driven, and there's lots of different abilities like inserting Giphies or loop components and things like that, which can easily make things disappear off the page. So if we miss it for a day or two because we're just not looking at that one particular team, we tend to just overlook it, and we never spend the time scrolling through the chat history or anything like that. And emails, of course, still very, very relevant, but the information that we have inside of our mailboxes are siloed. It's something that may be sent to us, and it's only serving me and the person who sent that message to me. It's not visible to anybody else. So these are, again, some of the benefits. So forums, they're structured. It categorizes the different types of discussions that you might be having. The actual container, be it a Microsoft Teams team or a channel within inside of Teams, or even a SharePoint site, or a communication site, for example, that can be the container and could already be departmentalized inside of an organization. So you can have multiple instances of Social Squared. So really what we're doing is getting deep into some of those different conversations, allowing the discussions that are taking place to be compartmentalized inside of a specific forum, and therefore very, very relevant and not disappearing. So the structure is important. Over time, we are building up that knowledge, which can be easily discovered and found. So Social Squared can be more compared with a library, where each section inside the library is perhaps on different subjects. We may have travel, we may have food, etc. And if there's a specific question that we have, we know where we need to go to inside that library in order to get our question answered. And fortunately, there's librarians, so they're governing this. They're making sure that the right books go on the right shelf. And the same thing applies to Social Squared as well. We've got forum moderators that make sure that the right questions that are being asked are in the correct place. If they're not, they can move them and put that question inside of another forum somewhere else. So it is creating that structure, and it means that we can find the answers at any point in time to the questions that are coming up. So some of the key features that we're about to explore, we have got the forum groups and structured topics, as we just mentioned. So each of these blue bars that you see inside the screenshot here represents a forum group. and each of those forum groups can contain forums. So it's 2 levels of categorization, and the site that contains it is also a 3rd level of categorization, if you like, as well. So we could have a SharePoint site on sales marketing, and then a forum group could be on conferences, another forum group could be on pay-per-click, etc. And we can dive in deeper with specific forums around there too. So there is a rich text editor, as you probably imagine, the ability to create attachments, either attachments in the post, or we can also attach them through a document library as well. We can put images and videos inside our posts, which can make them richer content, of course. We have moderators that can make sure that posts are approved and also organized into the right location. They will have the ability to go in and edit posts, or like I say, move the posts or even delete the posts if necessary. Permissions wise, the background to Social Square, the data source is SharePoint lists. So the lists are inheriting permissions from the site or the team that contains it, meaning that you are in control of who can actually view that content and who can engage in those conversations. So anybody with a member permission, or anybody that's a member of a site or a team, for example, will have the edit permissions. They can go through and create a new topic. They can reply to different people's topics as well. Whereas somebody with just read permissions through the visitors group, they just get that read-only experience of Social Squared as well. So it can still go on and serve a purpose through somebody with just read permissions. There's also gamification. So this encourages people to answer other people and also to vote and respond. So we have likes, we have badges as well. So the more your posts are liked, or the more your posts are marked as answered, that means that you're going to gain more reputation within inside of certain forums by being able to present those badges inside of your signature. So we'll be able to see that in just a moment. And then we can also display some analytics through our data viewer product as well. And these can be packaged together so you can build your own charts on whether you're getting engagement through Social Squared or not. And finally, we have findability. So there's the ability to search. You can search anyway through SharePoint, but you can also search within the dedicated Social Squared search, which means you're just searching the forum or the forum groups that you want to search within in order to be able to find the content. And each post, just like a LinkedIn post, can also be tagged. And those tags are also searchable, but you also have a tag cloud, which allows you to easily find different topics that may span multiple forums and see those all in one place. So we'll jump into the demonstration and have a look at this. I've got 2 users which I'm going to be switching between. One of them is Demo User 5 here, who is a member of this Azure Valley University communication site. And I've also got my Lightning Tool is the site administrator who has much more permissions to the Social Squared instance that we're going to be taking a look at as well. So we're going to start off looking at the member experience. So if you are maybe a student in this scenario, what does Social Squared look like for you? Yeah, you'll see a lot of the different options are security trimmed as we go through it. So if we scroll down to Social Squared, you'll see here we've got the forum groups, that structure that we were referring to. So we have a student support forum group, teaching and learning, also IT and services. And inside of each of those forum groups, we've got these individual forums. So under course Q&A, for example, we can go into there and see the questions that people have been asking. And if we hover over those, you do get to see the first paragraph or 2 inside of a tooltip. So we don't have to go in and out of every single post. We can just get an idea as to what these are by hovering over them. So if we do go into the top one, which I can see has been answered, we can also see that it's been rated by other users as well. But if we go into that, we can see what the threaded discussion looks like. So here was a question by this particular user. We can see that somebody's responded, and a further response has been created and also embedded the message they're responding to as well. So that makes it far more readable. You've also got the ability to have a threaded view, so you can see that indentation for each response. That way we can determine who's responding to who. And we can see that this is the answered post as well. Now, sometimes these discussions get quite lengthy and go on to multiple pages, etc. So one of the things you can do, if you're at this point, you see that the post is answered, we can click onto that and we can just hit the show answer option, and it will take anything that has been marked as answer onto the view and hiding all the other posts so that we can get the answer that we were looking for, or what the topic author or the moderator considered the answer to be. And if we want to respond, notice that we have got the reply option here, or there's also a reply with quote option, which will embed that message. And that's how this one was created in that case. So if I just hit reply, we're just going to create a simple response. I'm just going to put I agree, because you're not here to watch me type all day. So I can just jump into the body here, put my message in, and you'll notice that rich text toolbar that we spoke about. This gives me the ability to go through and use emotion icons. We can talk about source code if we want to. There's the ability to format that source code if we drop that in. So ideal for a sort of IT environment. And if that's not relevant to you at all, that's something that can also be switched off as well. We'll be getting into that a little bit later when we talk about the configuration of Social Squared. But there's my simple reply. We'll hit the reply button, and you'll see that that goes in as a response there. Okay, so that's replying to people. Now, before we do create a new topic, it's always encouraged to first of all do a search. So if we did have something that we're going to search on, so let's just search on the word formative, for example. Let's just navigate back here. As we search on that, it will return any post with that word in, and gives me the ability to refine my search by date, also by tags, title, and content. And if any of these meet what I'm looking for, I can just simply click View Topic and go to that topic and respond to it if it serves my purpose. So that's how we can easily search. If we miss that step, so let's say I've got a question about lecture recordings. I click onto Add New Topic, and I'm just going to start my subject with recording. You can see that it's already picked up another post that contains the word recording or record in there, and I can click onto that and go straight to that post, and that may serve my curiosity or answer my question before I even get to the point of asking it. So of course that's going to be saving an incredible amount of time. But if we do want to add a new topic, we can just click on Add New Topic here, and we can provide a subject. So I've just got some content ready to go here. So this is going to be to do with exam stress. So we're just going to drop that in, and just to make my post look richer, I'm also going to come in here and paste in an image. I'm going to deliberately right click and choose paste rather than Control V, just to show you that that is coming off the clipboard, and it's very easy to copy and paste content and make a good looking post that we want to work with. Now, as I create that, one of the things you may have just noticed is the tags here have automatically been suggested. So this is because the type of content contain things like AVU, which is the Azure Valley University, etc. So it's suggesting AVU portal and AVU offers as a couple of tags that have already been used on similar content. But I could also go through and tag this with other words such as stress and so on. So anybody using the tag cloud is going to come across my post once I create it. Now, because I'm creating this about exam stress, I don't want everybody to know. So one of the things I can also do is post that anonymously. So nobody will know it's me. And we could also cross-post it as well. So I could have this go into course Q&A, but by clicking onto cross-posting, you'll see that there's other forums within other forum groups, and one of them is actually a student well-being corner. So I'm going to select that one as well. And it will go into both of those locations. So I'm broadening the audience where people could respond to me. And then once I'm ready, I just hit add topic, and that is going to appear in both locations. So again, you can see that was via anonymous. So nobody knows who created that post, but they can still respond to it and everything else that's required. Okay, so that's creating a topic, replying to topics. We've had a look at searching for topics. If we are interested in following specific people, we can do that as well. So that's actually me, which is why I'm not seeing the follow option. If I click onto Lightning Tools, notice how I can follow that user. So if there was a teacher in this scenario that we wanted to follow, so whenever they post anything in any of the forums, we receive a notification, we can do that. We can also follow specific forums. So if, for example, an IT help desk support engineer, one of the things I might decide to do is subscribe to that forum so that anybody creating new topics in there, I will then be notified about, and I can come in and respond to them. And you could also go through and follow a specific discussion. So here is somebody complaining that the Wi-Fi keeps dropping, and maybe I'm experiencing the same thing. So I'd like to know what the response is to that when somebody does finally respond to it. So what I could do is subscribe or unsubscribe just to that discussion, and that way I get an email notification when somebody does reply to it. Okay, so that's how we can again create topics, reply to topics. We've seen the searching, etc. Up in the top left-hand corner, we also have the tag cloud. So this is where some of those different tags that have been used throughout the different posts appear. So you can see the word stress appearing here. If I was to click onto that, I can see that there's actually 2 posts. That's because I posted the same thing in 2 different forums. If we go back there and click onto AVU portal, we can see everything to do with the AVU portal and so on. And one of the other things you can do with that tag cloud is actually follow a tag as well. So for example, we'll use stress there as the demo. So if I follow the word stress, wherever that is used in any one of the forums, I will then get notified, and again, I could come in and respond to that post. There's also some other views down on the left-hand side here. Beyond the tag cloud, we can see, for instance, the recent activities. So if we're somebody that regularly comes in and replies to people, one thing that is useful is the recent activities view. So we can see all the posts that have perhaps been created today or in the last week, etc. That's up to you to decide what you consider recent to be inside of your organization. So everything recent can appear in there. And notice anything in bold is content that I have not read yet. So we can go through and perhaps focus on that. We've also got things like top contributors. So I can see how many posts each of these people have made, and also follow those links to read those posts. We can see active users or people that I'm following. And I can also manage my subscriptions from in here as well, which includes the ability to have a digest subscription. So, of course, one of the things that might occur with students is we're getting involved in conversations all day long within certain forums and receiving, therefore, multiple mails a day. So I could just opt for a digest email appearing perhaps once a week or something to that effect. And you can customize these menus, and you can also pin each view as well. So if I prefer to have the recent topics view as my default, I can go through and pin that here, and that's what I'm always going to see when I come into it. And I could also specify my sort criteria and things like that as well. So I'm seeing the most relevant posts to me. Okay, so that's just a very quick tour of the end user experience of Social Squared. Let's go back to the slides for a moment, talk about some other use cases. So we've just really had a look at an educational use case. We could have local government where we've got things like policy discussions and citizen services and project planning, things like that to discuss. Again, it could be used as a community of practice. So any best practices or peer-to-peer learning experiences can also be discussed. And then we've got that sort of enterprise departmental Q&A type experience, which really helps with onboarding of new users to your organization as well, so they can discover what perhaps other new starters asked previously. So we're going to have a look at creating a new site, and we'll therefore get into the configuration as well. Actually, just before I do that, I'm just going to step across here to Teams, and you'll notice in Teams that we can also have that very same discussion board showing in here as well. So if you want to, you can add Social Squared as a Teams tab. So if you happen to be inside of Teams most of your working day, you get the same experience inside of Teams, where you've got that structured discussion as well. So what we're going to do is just come in here and create a new site. So we'll create this one using the standard team, and this is going to be called Azure Valley Council. And once again, we're going to add demo user 5 as a user, and that user is just going to have member permissions. And once that's created, we can go and add the Social Squared web part. So it's a very simple web part to add. I was hoping we wouldn't get this this pink theme, but there we go. I won't waste the time in changing the theme. Let's just edit the site here. And what I'm going to do is just add, first of all, a new section. So Microsoft has been making quite a lot of changes to the sections that you can add. There's actually a full width section now you can create. So you can add those, and this could be our Azure Valley Council, or Azure Valley Council discussions. And then beneath that, we can choose how we want our section to look. You can have flexible sections and so on as well, where you're in control of the exact placement of the web part. So in here, we're going to add Social Squared. And because it's the first time we're adding Social Squared to this site, you can see that it's creating a number of SharePoint lists, and that is the repository. So the only two people that can read the content within inside of Social Squared at the moment within this site is me, because I created the site, and demo user 5 because we added them as a member. That content's not going to show up anywhere else through Copilot, through search. It's all secured within inside that site. So it's only if we start to add additional permissions to other people that they could then see that content. Now, when we get to this stage, we can configure Social Squared. There's some animations and wizards to help you do that. If you know what you're doing, you can just go here into the burger menu, choose forum settings, and this is where you can begin to add your different forum groups and configure each of those forum groups as well. So I'm going to create one here called Citizen Services, and we'll add another one which is going to be called Governance and Policy. And within inside of each of these forum groups, we can go and add some additional forums. So I'm just going to call this Planning Application, or Applications. I'll discuss and approve planning apps. And you'll notice this is where I can go in and add a moderator. So you don't have to have a moderator, but if I do add a moderator, we can then control how the moderation works. So in the teacher-student type scenario, it's quite useful to use this setting where only administrators or moderators can create new topics. So that means that students aren't creating all the new topics all the time in a sort of classroom environment. We could have the teachers as moderators, and only those teachers can get to create new topics. Students can reply to them. You can also choose whether or not the posts that people create are automatically approved, or whether we need to approve them before they get displayed. So, so that's an option that you can control how that behavior works as well. And in a moment, we're also going to see how each of the different features, such as marking as answered, like emojis, voting, etc., can be turned on or turned off globally for this instance of Social Squared, but then overwritten per forum. So we might have certain forums where there are more Q&A based and other forums where they're more perhaps idea brainstorming, and therefore we don't need a mark as answered. So that gives me the planning application, and we could also have one called grants and funding as an example as well. So we'll just add that and make that a description, and we'll add one more, which will be traffic and roadworks. And that can be my description for that one as well. So you can see how that's then configured. And of course, we can go back and start adding forums under governance and policy as well. Once we've done that, once we've got the structure that we want to work with, you've got the ability to go into the properties. And here in the properties, we can, of course, change the title. We can also control what forum groups are displayed on the page. So this allows us to have multiple pages. We could have our student wellness, for example, separate to all of the other forums inside of the previous site that we were looking at. And then you've also got things like notifications. So when you're subscribing to a post, do we want to have do we want to receive email notifications, or do we want to have Teams notifications, or both? And also things like paging and so on can also be switched on and switched off as well. So more specifically, we've got things like emoji icons. We have tagging. So you saw how I was tagging my content, and I was able to use freestyle tags or use some of the suggested tags. If we want to make that more uniformed, we can also have the term store as our tags. So that way we have to use an intended tag that was perhaps set by the site collection administrator. Attachments can also be made. We've got the ability to control whether these are behind the scenes going to be a list item attachment, or they're going to go into a document library. If they go into a document library, it means that you've got things like version management, you've got permissions that you can set on those documents, etc., which you wouldn't get as the list item attachment. It's just going to be simply attached to the post behind the scenes. And here we also have things like badges. And in fact, if we just jump back to the university for a moment, you'll notice that the badges here for Demo User 5 are little university and educational representative. So that gives us the ability to control how many badges people are awarded, like I say, for replying to people. And if my response was marked as an answer, that's going to give me more points and therefore maybe get another badge as well. So I get that reputation score as well coming through. Okay, so that's the badges. You've got lots of different icons that you can choose from here. You can choose the threshold when we go from one badge to another badge based on those points. And then there's also lots of things like the anonymous posting, which if you don't want to use that, you can turn that off entirely, so it doesn't become available. However, hopefully you've seen a use of it. Somebody's complaining about having stress, for example. They don't want other people to know. Therefore, that can be hidden from other students, etc. And then you've also got things like terms and conditions. So if you do have a policy, you can put the policy in here. People have to abide by that policy. So perhaps Social Squared is going to be a social tool that forms part of your IT security policy. So you can put the terms in there and have people accept it and adhere to that. Otherwise, moderator could remove their posts, etc., or better still, remove their permissions. Yeah, the menus can be customized. You've got theme providers. We'll talk more about this shortly, but if I just show you again, the pink doesn't look too flattering in this case. But if we go into the section here and I choose a section background, if we choose add background, and let's maybe see if we can search for council wasn't too good. Let's go back to Valley. So lots of Valley pictures. We can choose one of those, and that picture is from the background, but you can see that Social Square just has the white background in this case. So one of the things we can do is come back into the properties, customize the background, and make that transparent for the actual web part, and also when you're looking at the body of those messages as well. So, so that image then comes through, and through the design properties of that image, you could maybe set your opaqueness to make that a little bit friendlier to the eye when you're using Social Squared. So that way, when you're designing an intranet, it makes it more appealing for other people to use as well. Okay, so that's some of the configuration properties. We're just going to go back to the Student Hub for a moment, and we'll have a look at how the moderation works. So going back into the forum settings, if we have a look at the Wellbeing and Community forum, we've got the Student Wellbeing section. You can see in here, Demo User 5 is actually a moderator for that forum. And in here, it says allow users to create topics and post messages while the forum is under moderation, which is currently set to no. So we're going to leave it like that. I will navigate into that forum. So we'll go into the Student Wellbeing and add a new topic. And we're just going to call this test topic and add that. Okay, and you can see, because I'm not Demo User 5, that my post hasn't automatically appeared. As you saw before, it's actually gone for approval. So it's not going to appear here. We can try and reload our page. And yeah, that post is not appearing. So what we're going to do is just go back into the site as Demo User 5, and we're going to reload. And what you'll see here, there's a small subtle message that's just appeared for Demo User 5 because they have the moderator to say that this post's awaiting moderation. And what they also have is a moderation view as well. So they can go into that moderation view, and there's the test topic that we just created. So, so this way they can go through, read it. We can see that it's currently pending. It's not available to anybody else. And in here, we can choose whether we want to approve it, or of course we could go in and edit that post, or move it into a more relevant forum as well. So some of these options aren't available to Demo User 5 in other forums. You'll notice that if we go into Teaching Resources Exchange and just navigate into this post, for example, this user can delete this topic because they created it. And they've got the threaded view and show answered, etc. But when they navigate into the Student Wellbeing corner, because they're the moderator, you'll notice that they can also delete the topic, move the topic, make the topic sticky, lock the topic, etc. as well. So we'll just have a look at some of those options. So of course, if they delete the topic, it's just going to remove it. If we move the topic, it means that it perhaps wasn't relevant to this particular forum. Maybe it's not going to be answered because it's in this particular forum. So what we could do is, just like the cross posting, is move that into a more relevant location. So we can just choose the forum that we want to move it to and hit that move topic, and it will move it into that location instead. Making it sticky is also something we can do to keep the post at the very top of the forum. So this is particularly useful for when you first start using Social Square, to make sure that people know how to use it. You can create a sort of welcome post to the forum at the very top. Or if there's something that's highly relevant, an event that's coming up or something like that, we can have it display and maybe display it until that event has occurred. So that will keep that post at the very top of the forum until that time, and then it's going to automatically fall in line with all the other posts. We can also lock it. So at the moment, you can see I've got that reply capability. By the way, I've also got things like report abuse and the attached files in there as well. So if I lock it, that's all disappeared now. We can't do anything with that post other than read it, and that is it. So we're completely locked. There are some other features as well to call out. So download PDF is great if you want a record of this. So that will then go through and create the PDF for me. So this is then something I could store permanently inside a document library or something like that, and or print it without printing the entire browser page and that type of thing. So you've got that capability as well. Okay, sorry, we just locked that one. Let's unlock it. There we are. And you've also got those subscription options as well over in the top right hand corner. Now, when we do reply, a couple of other features you've got here. Again, we've got the attached files, which you can restrict down to certain file types. We've also got speech to text. So in that sort of mobile environment, we can hit the speech to text, hit listen, and what you'll notice is it's capturing everything that I'm saying, and we can then tell it to stop listening and set that as my post message. So if I'm walking down the street, walking to the campus, I can easily create my post and submit that for everybody to see. And then you've also got that poll option as well. So when we do reply or create a post, we can create a poll. So I'm just going to put a couple of options in there, and we can have that display for a certain date range and preview it. And if we like it, we can save it, and that becomes part of our post as well. Okay, so we can go through and submit that. All right. So that was just my simple reply there. So I think we've covered most of the features, most of the configuration options. Just at the bottom here, you'll also see, as I mentioned earlier, you can use the data viewer to report against these posts as well. So this is just putting a simple chart together so we can see how many questions are answered or unanswered. And by the way, there's actually a view for that. So under topics here, we can see all the unanswered views and go through and respond to them. But that's just giving us a graphical way of looking at that. And I've also created this chart here that shows the number of posts created. And I'll set the interval on that one as minutes because I created most of this content last night. So everything was created on the same day. But yeah, of course, you could go through and refine that accordingly. So if we just go into the properties of that web part, you can see a view is created to display a chart. The data source, in this case, is the posts list, and the columns, I'm just looking at the created date and the item ID, and then the display is grouping by minute, whereas we could group by day if we want to. So we've got some posts created today as well as yesterday now, and we could show that as the chart. And you've got that full coloring capabilities and so on that you can go through and also configure. Okay, so that's a quick tour of Social Squared. We'll just have a quick look at what's new, and also yeah, under the hood. So under the hood, it is a SharePoint Framework web part. Really simple to deploy. We can just drag and drop the app into your app catalog. That makes it available. That could be the site collection app catalog or the tenant app catalog, depending on how you want to use it. And the web part can then be added to the page. And you've got the repository, as you saw, is SharePoint lists within inside that site where you added the web part, and that's where the data will reside. And the same thing with Teams as well. So if you add this is a Teams tab, it's going to create lists inside the underlying SharePoint site to that team. And there's also some adaptive cards that you can add as well. So if you're using the adaptive card dashboards on a Viva Connection site or any other site that you can now do, you can also have some small little components that just show you how many unanswered posts there are and that type of thing as well. So what's new and what's next? So You'll notice in here there is the theme provider section, and that's where we set the transparent background. There's also the semantic colors now. So this is really based on your feedback or our customers' feedback, where you want more control over the look and feel. And hopefully you've seen actually the contrast between the nice azure blue here and the horrendous pink. That Social Squared is always going to pick up the colors from the theme of the site that you've added to. But what you can now do is go into the properties of the web part, and under the theme provider, we can customize the colors, and this gives you all of the different classes that Social Squared is using, and you can override the value so that you can set your own styling and so on. But this does work very well with the backgrounds that you set inside those sections anyway. So here, if we just change this to, rather than this fairly light colored theme to a dark colored theme, you'll be able to see how the font goes from black to white and so on, so that it stands out against the environment that it's added to. So again, we can just switch here back to a lighter colored theme, and now that font has gone to blue and so on. Okay, so you can customize the colors, but again, it does a fairly good job of picking up from its environment the different theme colors. So that's one of the new features. We also have the moderation page, just a small tweak. It wasn't showing the content date, now it does. Sometimes people were unaware of when they were meant to have approved these posts. The rich text editor and the menu customization used to be a user configuration, but now we've made it also something that the administrator can change. So if you are signed in as the administrator, as I am, under the menu customization, we can hit customize. This is corresponding with the drop-down menu on the left-hand side, so you can choose what is going to be displayed in there. And the other feature is the rich text customization. So you can either allow users to customize their own RTE, or you can come in here and choose what they can and cannot do as the site administrator. So, for example, if you don't want those syntax highlighting, if you're not going to use it for discussions around code or anything like that, you can turn those off. You can turn off tables, iframes, and so on if you want to, and that will just change what that rich text editor looks like when you come in and edit a post. So it's just literally controlling what's visible on that rich text toolbar. And there's different styles of that as well. You can have like floating toolbars or balloon toolbars and things like that. Of course, I need to go through and save those changes before they apply. Okay, there's some improvements to the pending email as well, so it just makes it more obvious whether this is an email that is pending or whether it's something you've approved before, so just a minor tweak. And then just a discussion on the roadmap is also some more AI integration. If you were looking at some of the different settings, you may have seen the ChatGPT setting. That was turned off in my case. It is private ChatGPT. You can point to your own instance. If you don't want that at all, if AI still scares you, you can, there's two builds of Social Squared, one with completely out of that from the source code, and one with, where you can make use of it if you want to. Turning that on will give you the ability to summarize discussions, store those as a summary at the top of each post, so you can just read that summary. It can also suggest answers as well, based on the questions that people ask, and you can choose whether or not you're going to accept that answer as part of your reply. So that's a couple of options, but moving more into the realm of agents, one of the things you do have in every single SharePoint site now is an agent. So you can create a new agent just by choosing new agent. And if you already have the agent created, you can pop up here and you can ask it questions. So in here, I can say, what is APU, for example. So if I wasn't sure what that was referring to, you can see it's answering that. based on the content within inside the site. So this can be pages, document library content, etc. And what we're doing here is building up a great knowledge base as people are asking these questions and responding to these questions. And with those agents, we'll be able to use those as a source for us to get answers from the information that we've collected inside of Social Squared. Okay, so hopefully you found that useful. I've not seen any questions. So hopefully you've heard everything that I've said, because I know we had that issue at the very start of the webinar. Yeah, if there is questions, feel free to post them now. Alternatively, as you can see on the screen, there is my help@lightningtools.com, which is actually going to go into support. If you're interested in sales or getting a trial of Social Squared, you can find that on our website by navigating to lightningtools.com or email sales@lightningtools.com as well. On the website, you'll also be able to see how you can book a demo. So if you had something specific that you wanted to see, we can create a proof of concept around that as part of the demonstration. If you want to reach out to me directly, it's brett@lightningtools.com. Okay, so hopefully we will hear from you. And like I said, hopefully you heard my voice, because I know we had that issue with the audio at the very start. All right, well, thank you very much, everybody. Hope to see you on our next webinar. And for now, have a great rest of the day.